Mic check, mic check. Let's do this. Let's go. Just half an hour or so, maybe 40-minute live planned. I'm going to start off with a topic that if you just jump into the live late, it won't be the end of the world if you miss. But things have gotten a little awkward with the monkey stuff. So we've got the monkeypox out there. And there was this thread that was absolutely hilarious in regards to the monkeypox. I want to do the disclaimer. I am not a doctor, not claiming to be a doctor, not claiming to give any advice. I would recommend you rely on yourself and get information from doctors and people that you respect. That's not what I'd be providing here today. This thread, though, provides something else. I think it provides humor. So I'm going to share that right now. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be probably 30 to 40 minutes. Got a couple topics to go over. Got Giuliani. I'm going to talk about Giuliani. I'm going to talk about my concern for MAGA. I don't want MAGA to go to the dark side. I don't think it will, but there is that possibility. That's for sure. So I'm going to talk about that. I want to talk about this monkeypox thing is crazy. This one little thread, not the whole thing. Hopefully everybody's being safe out there. But so I got those couple topics to go over. Got the mic check going. Sounds good. Thanks for stopping by. Steve Johnson from Detroit. I love Detroit. I used to live out in Southfield. I lived in Oak Park. Used to go through Royal Oak a lot. Went to school in Ann Arbor, not Detroit, but love Detroit. Thanks for stopping by, man. That's the musical artist that I met in Detroit. Man, obviously home of Motown. There's something special, man. They talk about the fault lines or something like that. I don't know. There's something magical about Detroit, talent-wise, soul-wise. At least when I was there, that was early 2000s, like 2000, 2004. Love Detroit with a passion. Love that area. Ireland. Oh my goodness. Shout out through the internet. Empress Artemis through in Ireland. Shout out. Thank you for stopping by. That's the internet. It's beautiful, man. Just tuning in. William Archibald, friend of show, everybody's friend of show. Just want to shout out a couple people before sharing the stories here. Good. That makes me good. Feel good on a Friday. Somebody stopping in from all the way in Ireland. Let's go. Across the pond. Kristen Huang tweeted, And I think she tweeted this with good intent. This is nothing against Kristen at all. Kristen said San Francisco resident David Watson contracted that monkey stuff through the casual contact of hugging a friend. He went to the ER 3 times with extreme pain that opioids could barely touch. Don't want to see that. It took 12 days to get that solution. This final sentence is where people started bugging out. His husband and two dogs were also infected. When the internet saw that, whether it's irresponsible or not, I'm not here to make any statements. I'm just sharing with you what I saw. I saw it, so now you have to see it too. The quote tweets are unbelievable. They're kind of wondering how the dogs got it. I'm not the same person tweeted and said, hey, this can happen this way and that way. It's not what you think. I'm just letting you know what people think. The dogs, they didn't like how the dogs got it through casual contact. So people are thinking, is it really that or something else? This person said, oh, I don't like your screen name, bro. He said his husband and what? The husband and 2 dogs is what Kristen said. Why don't you guys, what's so weird about that? There's people people take these jokes too far. And then now this person said, how did the dogs get infected? Somebody said this, 2 dogs are infected. I'm not saying, because I don't think that is accurate. So I'm not making that statement about anything being an STD. That is the impression. Scab said, hugging a friend. Man, y'all, I bet you a dime to dollar that not a single thing in this tweet is true. He must have hugged the ish out of that dude. Mel, I follow Mel on Twitter. She is great. And she's like, and the dogs? I know it sounds weird. First of all, I hope they're all well and everything's good. But yeah, it was weird. And then I came in, I was like, the quote tweets. I didn't say anything. I was just like, I'm reading the quote tweets. Kristen followed up and said, the internet being a terrible place warrants this clarification. And I appreciate that. This thing here, this monkey thing is not an STD and can be transmitted through non-sexual skin-to-skin contact like hugging, not a euphemism, as well as through contact with contaminated objects like towels, sheets, couch cushions, etc. Thank you, Kristen, for that help. So I'm sure she posted that. I'm sure people will take it seriously from here on out, or maybe not. Husband and 2 dogs are infected. Blame the dog. This is not appropriate. Are you guys? There's so much to unpack here. This person said, allegedly, Nickers was having an orgy with their dogs. I'm going to put a question mark because I'm not making any type of accusations. I just thought, I went through and I probably read 100 quote tweets because each one was creative and funny. I hope we can laugh at each other. It's not, hopefully everybody's okay. I'm not targeting anybody with it or anything like that. It did catch my attention when I saw it. Like, oh, the dogs. I didn't know the dogs could get it too. But there it is. Got sad news today. I mean, it's not in the grand scheme of life, it's not the end of the world, but disappointment to hear hip hop artist Forgiato Blow, he got nuked. Forgiato, they got him. His YouTube channel, the whole thing's gone. Bye-bye. I tweeted earlier today, news, hip-hop artist Forgiato Blow had his entire YouTube channel banned. I did go to try to go back to his channel. I couldn't find it. You click it, doesn't take you, and it's gone. Bryson Gray, one of my favorite artists out right now, one of the most important people to culture right now. He posted on YouTube, he said, It happened because of election misinformation in a video from over a year ago. Bryson Gray posts, YouTube just deleted Forgiato Blow's entire YouTube channel due to election misinformation from a music video from over a year ago. They're cracking down on patriotic artists. Be careful. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, B, but it is kind of funny to hear Bryson Gray. If Bryson Gray is telling you to be careful, you're probably going to get banned really soon. Because I'm the one usually telling you that, hey, Bryson, I'm the one usually telling Bryson Gray, like, Bryson, look out, man, just be careful, don't get banned. Here's the post here. So when Bryson Gray is telling you, be careful, look out, then you probably are really in danger of getting banned, because Bryson Gray is the most banned artist out there that I'm aware of. Many songs have been banned. He's got 2 strikes on his YouTube channel. He's got to be very careful. He probably, I can't tell, I shouldn't tell him what to do. He knows culture and social media and everything way better than I do. So a lot of people, Salty Cracker did this a while back, go through their archives and delete all their old videos. It's something that I was contemplating on doing, but I'm still unsure about that. But because my old videos don't get any views. So what's the point of having old videos up that there's no exposure to people really, and it's high risk that YouTube could go through and just say, oh, you said this 1 2-second thing, banned or strike. Bryson Gray said it was a video from over a year ago. They did the same thing to Kim Iverson a while back. It was a video, I think, the Convo Couch too. So I went over to Rumble. I saw him on Rumble. If you just search for Forgiato Blow, you'll find this channel. If you know the best way to follow him, let me know. I'll try to get it out there to get people to know where else to follow him. I don't know a lot about him. I know of him through Bryson Gray. You know, they do features and all that, like some of his songs. But I never had any beef with him. He's another guy who seems to be very in tune with culture and well connected. So if you're a Forgiato Blow fan, just know that the YouTube channel's gone. But the shares, if you know how to get in touch and the best way to follow him, put that out there. Oh no, wisdom over fear. I'm guessing peanut butter was involved with the dogs and the gay guy. I don't want to know. Oh my goodness. Here's what I really wanted to talk about today, and I'll focus on this to make sure I have time to go through it. Is I've come to, and I don't even know if you can really call me MAGA. I joke about it. I'm wearing plaid MAGA, a shirt that I put together with Spring Tea. I'm repping a MAGA shirt, and I'm going to say, well, I'm not even sure if you could really call me MAGA or not. If you do or not, I don't care. I'm repping a MAGA shirt. I fully admit that I am trying to, however I can, force MAGA into the realm where I need MAGA. So I don't control MAGA. I might not even be a MAGA representative, but that doesn't mean I can't try to control it or get my 2 cents out into the ether, kind of like throwing a drop of water in the ocean. I can do that. MAGA, hear me out. I do have concerns. I do not want you, MAGA, if you associate with MAGA, even if you aren't MAGA, if you are open to MAGA, you are considered MAGA. I want avoid becoming them. And I put, this is a Sith Lord, Star Wars. That is the dark side. So avoid going to the dark side. It could be very easy. If you want revenge, I don't blame you. Here's Lauren Boebert the other day. She said, if they want to go scorched earth, then scorched earth it is. And I interpret that as politically. And I understand because they're going scorched earth. That is for sure. And the more they go scorched earth, the harder it is for me to get behind a microphone and say, don't go scorched earth back. If you want political revenge, I don't blame you. But is that the legacy you want to leave? If that's not the legacy that you want to leave, then what's the answer? Because Ryan, the eating warrior, said they'll never stop. So I say yes. So what he's saying is I will support political revenge. So I said, I don't blame you, Ryan, at all. So I want to provide an answer. What is the answer if the political revenge really isn't it? The answer is liberty. Liberty is the answer. I have no problem repping MAGA. Cameron replied and said, 100% form your own values. Do not outsource your principles or opinion to any group, including MAGA. Otherwise, it's only a matter of time. You will find yourself defending some reprehensible-ish without a second thought. All movements can be hijacked, and right-wing, I think he means right-wing with RW, is not immune. I said, exactly. I have no problem repping MAGA. I want MAGA to have power, but I don't need another version of coercion and force. If I have to choose one version of coercion and force versus the other, I'm going to choose MAGA over these corporate views that we're fighting right now. But I don't want it on either side. As MAGA gets more power, what they do with it will decide the fate of the movement. What is liberty? Liberty is about peace. It's about prosperity and decentralizing power. That's in my terms. I didn't even look that up. That's in my terms from reading and listening to people like Comic Dave Smith. So when I use the word liberty, that's what I mean. It can mean a lot of different things. I mean peace, prosperity, or the ability to be prosperous. Nothing's guaranteed. Liberty is peace, prosperity, the opportunity of prosperity, and decentralizing power. There will always be people who have power, but decentralizing it as much as possible. If you do not know who Comic Dave Smith is, please consider following him. That doesn't mean you have to agree with him. He released the video today that I'll have to respond to another time that I actually disagreed with some of it on. It was about MAGA and Trump. So it's not about do you need to agree with somebody all the time or not. Comic Dave Smith is the one that I would vote for president. He is one of the best advocates for liberty. I'm hoping he becomes the 2024 presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party. Here is Comic Dave Smith.
I became a libertarian about 11 years ago. I was a child of the Ron Paul movement. What's paramount to me is liberty. I care about the liberty movement. I care about the philosophy of libertarianism, the most beautiful, brilliant political philosophy ever devised by man. I care about actually seeing liberty in real people's lives. Now, just to be clear, I don't have to go off on this to you people, but the philosophy of libertarianism is the philosophy of peace. It's the philosophy of prosperity. And as I've come more and more to realize, it's the philosophy of civilization. I mean, what better describes civilized behavior than the non-aggression principle and respect for private property rights? It's what you would teach your 3-year-old as they go into the world. Don't hit other people and don't take their stuff.
Well said. And the Angry Canuck, thank you for stopping by, says, how do you achieve liberty when there is a powerful organization with a monopoly on violence? That is our government. Political action. Sure, except now ex-CIA are calling for Trump's execution. That is not an exaggeration by the Angry Canuck. I'll have to sidetrack since he referenced it. Thank you for bringing that up. Nothing to see here, just the deep state, and I'm going to show the tweet. This is one of the craziest tweets I have seen in a long time, and I've seen some crazy tweets. And my biggest problem with it is actually that he lacked the courage to say what he wanted to say. This person online said, Rosenbergs were convicted for giving U.S. nuclear secrets to Moscow and were executed June 1953. I'm not familiar with that case, but that's not the point. CIA, that's the one that I referenced, who said there was no deep state and Trump was lying, and all. He also signed on to the labeling the laptop from hell as Russian disinformation. Ex-CIA, ex-NSA, deep state. General Michael Hayden says, sounds about right, in response to the Rosenbergs convicted and executed for giving nuclear secrets to Moscow. So no, he didn't directly say Trump should be executed, but with the atmosphere that's going on in our country right now, you know what he's trying to do. He's trying to gaslight you. Unbelievable. How do we achieve liberty? I don't know if I have all the answers, but maybe I'll touch on it. Starting number one, let's start following people, which you might already, not talking about you, Angry Canuck, but if you don't know, how are we going to get liberty? You don't have to be a part of the Libertarian Party. I joined the party in full disclosure because of the Mises Caucus revolution, and I really liked Ron Paul back in the day, and they're carrying that movement on. You don't have to be a libertarian. So let's stop there. Now, I know the Libertarian Party would probably want me to say, be a libertarian. That's just not my focus. My focus is that we mix in the best of even socialism, even capitalism, all these different philosophies to find the right thing. And I say liberty's the answer. So let's start start following Comic Dave Smith at Comic Dave Smith. His YouTube channel is part of the problem. Follow somebody who's much more articulate, and we will crowdsource the answers together. But maybe I'll have touch on it. MAGA's already doing it. MAGA's already kind of touching on it. They don't have power yet, but they're touching on it. The Libertarian Party would like to have new members. You don't have to be libertarian. But listen to this. So how do we do it, Angry Canuck? Well, I've never heard this before. This is the first I've ever heard of anyone saying, basically, from the Republican Party. I mean, Ron Paul would count, but not like this. Was Ron Paul at CPAC? I don't think so, but this is the loudest I've ever heard this mantra right here, end the Fed.
One last thing. The biggest scam they have, the biggest con, is not just the appropriations process and how they fund it. It's the Federal Reserve. Okay? Okay? 0.5% of the citizens of this country own more assets than the bottom 90%. That's all happened over the last 10 years since 2008. You know, we took a monetary base of what, back in the 80s of what, $800 billion? The balance sheet of the Fed was $880 billion under President Bush, right? Balance sheet of the Fed is $9.5 trillion today. The debt's $30 trillion. We have $100 to $150 trillion of contingent liabilities, all just because we're the prime reserve currency. The greatest export we have is the dollar. But all of that rests on the shoulders of our children and our grandchildren. Those are all due bills that are come due. All we've done is we've just cranked everything up. That's why they're talking about these ridiculous, insane bills of trillions of dollars, because the Federal Reserve will print the money.
So I know Empress Artemis, all the way from Ireland, might be talking about Steve Bannon as a lizard or a reptile, which is perfectly fine. I don't know these people, so I can't vouch for them as people and their goals behind the scenes. But what I can vouch for is ending the Fed, though, and that's what he's talking about. And we're not hearing what political person that has more prominence than Steve Bannon have you heard say end the Fed? When he started the speech, he said end the Fed, and the crowd was kind of like lukewarm. It was like they were kind of like, huh? What were you saying? They were like, wait, what? It wasn't like a rousing cheer.
The biggest scam they have, the biggest con, is not just the appropriations process and how they fund it. It's the Federal Reserve. Okay? Okay?
Look at that. That was questionable. They're like, well, what do you say? They're almost like, what did you say, my nickel?
The Federal Reserve. Okay? Okay?
That was a gasp. That wasn't like a round of applause.
Okay? Okay?
So then he puts out his hand because he knows what he's doing here is educating. Because a lot of people don't know this. I just, within the last 2 years started researching this. How do you think they get the money to pass this fake Inflation Reduction Act? Well, the title at least is ridiculous. Where's the money coming from? It's just being printed basically digitally out of thin air from these groups of, I believe it's 10 or 12 banks that are the Federal Reserve. Out of our oversight, nobody's paying attention to them. Nobody's auditing them. He's not saying audit the Fed. He's saying end the Fed. So Angry Canuck, you say, how do we stop this? That's probably the number one thing we need to stop. The colonies back in the day, when America, even before America started, they did not suffer from inflation. Why? Because they didn't have a bank that just kept printing money and devaluing their money over time. This is probably the number one thing that has to be stopped. Very dangerous. Steve Bannon, whether he's a reptile or not, he's putting himself at risk for speaking on this. Why do you think they're running up in Trump's crib? Trump doesn't have ideology. He's open though. If Steve Bannon can get the, whatever you want to call the base, if he can get MAGA riled up and turn build the wall into graduating that into end the Fed, Trump will be right on board. He's just the mascot. He's not going to stop that. He'll help it. Why do you think they're running up in his crib? That's why. Not over anything else. MAGA is graduating. Steve Bannon said, end the Fed at CPAC. Ending the Fed would be decentralizing power. Remember what I said liberty was? It's just peace, the opportunity of prosperity, and decentralizing power. There's no other decentralized power more powerful than ending the Fed. We created the banks. I know it sounds crazy. It's like radical, like, okay, what can we really do? We created them through these representatives, through DC. We can end them through representatives in DC. Why do you think they're trying to put the clamp on everything? Why do you think they're trying to do more censorship? Twitter just came out and said, we're going to do more censorship. And they wrapped it up in the guise of protecting democracy and elections. All that is we're going to do more censorship. I'm not surprised. This channel could get nuked. Forgiato Blow could get nuked. It doesn't matter. We'll make our own internet. We'll do whatever it needs to be. I'm on other platforms. I'm not going to try to. If I do get nuked, I'll view it as a failure on my part for not trying to stay on. But that's what we're up against. Because they know when people hear about ending the Fed, they're going to say, well, what is the Fed? And then pretty soon they're going to find out what the hell is going on. This is MAGA at its best, and it's a libertarian position. Steve Bannon's not a libertarian. I don't care. We've got overlap. We can agree. Marjorie Taylor Greene has a bill to abolish the ATF. She supports Thomas Massey's bill to end the Department of Education. Thomas Massey has a bill that literally has one line. Go to the website for Congress. The bill has one sentence. It's something like end the Department of Education. Marjorie Taylor Greene is MAGA. She doesn't even know what libertarian. She literally doesn't know what libertarian is. She was on Tim Pool and talked about it, and she's like, I don't know, am I or not? I just have my beliefs. She's openly. I bet you. You know what? I bet you. I will bet money 10 years from now, Marjorie Taylor Greene might be a full-blown libertarian. She just doesn't know it. Most of her ideology is libertarian. She's a little bit authoritarian where she says, well, I want to codify into law, banning unliving fetuses. That's authoritarian if you want to make it federal. But most of her beliefs are libertarian in nature. She just doesn't even know it. She's openly discussing dismantling the DOJ, FBI, and other agencies. This is MAGA at its best. It aligns with liberty. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweets, our government has become an institution that protects and serves the elites while people suffer under the America last ruling class. We must defund the FBI, dismantle the DOJ, and gut the agencies of political biases and persecutions. I believe in the people. That's a populist literally telling you, I believe in the people. Again, liberty is peace, ability to be prosperous, and decentralization. What is she talking about? Peace? Nothing but peace here. Prosperity for people over the ruling class. She wants America first, and decentralization. That's a libertarian position for Marjorie Taylor Greene. That is MAGA at its best. My goal is I want to keep MAGA down that lane. I'm going to show you what other lane they could go to, you might think about in a second. Going after people like Biden, it might feel good. It might seem good. It might seem like accountability. People are using this term, accountability. And I want to argue with what is really what do you want to hold accountable? Do you want to hold a cog in the machine accountable, or do you want to hold the machine accountable? Do you want to bring down the Death Star of DC, or do you just want to take down a TIE fighter? Which one should be the focus? And that's what this is about. This is MAGA at its worst. This is ineffective MAGA.
I have introduced articles of impeachment to impeach Joe Biden, impeach Kamala Harris, get Nancy Pelosi the heck out of there, and save our country.
So that got a standing ovation, and the Fed did not. But one of them is a good meal that's filled with nutrients, protein, and if you work out with it and the Fed, it will get you stronger. The other one is like going to McDonald's every day and not working out, and it might taste good at first, you're going to feel bad later. Should Biden be impeached? Of course he should be impeached. I'm not saying he shouldn't be impeached. I'm saying what should the focus be? If you're going to be focusing on impeaching Biden, you're not focused on ending the Fed. You're distracted. Joe Biden is a senile old man. That's a waste of time. I know it gets standing ovations, and if you're using it just for marketing purposes, but when you get power, you really want to transition that energy into end the Fed, I'm with you. You do your marketing. But I don't think this is just marketing. There's going to be gridlock. You're going to see MAGA potentially fall into this committee, impeachment, this hearing, that hearing. If those hearings aren't for ending the Fed or some type of way like that, or the Schedule F, all that type of stuff where Trump was looking to fire a lot of the administrative state, then this is ineffective nonsense. And all it's going to do, it doesn't resonate with people. It only resonates with your people who agree with you already. MAGA is at a fork in the road. They can choose to play the exact same game, corporate games that are used against them, against all of us, and justify it as revenge. That's what Giuliani said here. In this article, Giuliani said, if Trump gets elected president, the first thing he'll do is raid every one of Biden's houses. Giuliani, that's a waste of my time. I don't want McDonald's. I want a good home-cooked meal that's healthy, doesn't have too much salt, filled with love. And you know what? You open up your doors or your backyard, people are going to come through and say, what are you doing? A home-cooked meal? You're doing your little barbecue or whatever it is? I'm going to stop on by. Not McDonald's, not fast food. This is nonsense. What goal is going to come from raiding Robert Biden's house or Joe Biden's house? Nothing. All it's going to be is common people are going to say, oh, yeah, MAGA got into power. They're going to do the same thing that the other corporate people did. So MAGA is just this same corporate thing wrapped up in a different package. Go aim higher. Aim for better. Choose liberty. I've played this clip multiple times, so if you've heard it, forgive me. I cannot play it enough, though. This is MAGA. You can choose to go down that path of, yep, when we get into power, or you get into power, raids. You get into power. If you're going to do the raids that aren't warranted, then why wouldn't you do the FISA that's not warranted? Like, where's the line of your integrity? You can either go down that path of foolishness and authoritarianism and un-American behavior and revenge and justify it with revenge. Oh, well, they did it to me. They did it to our mascot, which is Trump. They turned caring parents into domestic terrorists. So we're going to turn this group into domestic terrorists if that, that would be very incredible for MAGA to get power in the deep state. But if you could do that, if you want to do that, that's the wrong path. Marjorie Taylor Greene talked about the right path.
We want to keep funding it.
How do we solve this?
National divorce.
Yeah, but that always will result in a civil war.
It shouldn't. It doesn't have to. So just like a married couple that decides that, we can no longer be married, this is not working, they resolve the situation in a court, right? They don't actually go to war or they shouldn't try to kill each other. Maybe some of them do, I don't know. But they dissolve it. They dissolve their marriage in a court. And so essentially really what national divorce should look like is it should go back to how our nation is founded, where state rights were far more important than the federal government. And the federal government's role should be reduced down to a very small role, and state rights should be so strong. And so that, if you want to live in a state where everyone has to be vaccinated, everyone has to wear 3 masks, at least 3, maybe 4, and then you want to have a more communist style state government.
And CRT's taught in the schools.
CRT, absolutely. And all of these radical things are what we call.
This is peace and love right here. You hear what Marjorie Taylor Greene said? If you want to do those things, do them. Do you. Do it in your own decentralized government way.
And then you want to have a more communist style state government.
And CRT's taught in the schools.
CRT, absolutely. And all of these radical things are what we call radical, but they may love it.
Sounds like Massachusetts.
Or California, but they should be able to have that.
So,
and then if you're like Kentucky or Georgia even, or Florida, you want to have a more conservative, pro-traditional family values. Let's say that you want to say, no, you can choose to be vaccinated or you can choose to wear a mask, and you want to have a more free government, you should be able to have it. And then there's no interference.
That's the way. That is a libertarian position. That's the most ultimate, to me. Decentralizing the federal government, starting over to the origin, like how the country was originally set up. I'm gonna go through some comments here. Impress says she looks like a man. She's very strong. She does the what's the gym stuff? The lifting. That's what the U.S. is supposed to be. Angry Canuck, absolutely. So MAGA has the answers. They're right there. Just don't go down that path of revenge. Even when you talk about abolishing the FBI, if you don't do it from a principled standpoint of decentralizing power, then all you're going to do is replace it with another entity. I don't want the FBI replaced as the MAGA FBI. I just don't want the FBI. How about that? So you break that all down, and then you give more power to the people in right now, the territories we have are states. Let them decide what they need to do. That's what's happening with this. The left has gotten into this discussion with the end of FBI, and I'm glad that we are, the populist left is kind of talking with MAGA a little bit on this. They're getting a little bit on my nerves on how they're talking about it, though. I didn't like how Brianna Joy Gray brought it up, but it's a start. So I'm not going to go against it. It's a start. Let's talk about it. So they were talking about this, and MAGA has the solution. Angry Canuck says, no one should see this as revenge. This is cancer surgery. You can treat cancer and fed. You can feel better from it, sure. But until you cut out the tumor and infected cells, it will replicate. Yes. If you want to end the Fed and not replace it with your own central banking, then that is not revenge. That's taking down the machine. And MAGA's message should be, even to people who hate MAGA because they don't even know what MAGA is. Comic Dave Smith is one of the smartest guys out there. He does not understand MAGA. Not fully. because he was like, oh, Trump, what's this allegiance to Trump? There is no allegiance to Trump. Let me explain that to you. I'll do it in another video. But if you want to decentralize if you want to end the Fed, that is power to the people, that is against the machine, and even people who hate you, like the populist left maybe, or people who don't understand you, it will resonate with them. They will understand. Marjorie Taylor Greene right there just said, if you want to do CRT, then do CRT. The problem we're having is you're trying to force it on me. That's the problem. That's what she said right there in the clip. Paraphrasing it. So I think this is a great, I'm very optimistic about this opportunity right now that MAGA has to really resonate with people. They're not going to have, the majority of people in DC are not going to be MAGA, but there could be enough, and then MAGA governors to push the GOP into the right direction. I'm out. Let me know what you think. Take care.
The Green New Deal and the socialists who created it. We're fed up with the attacks on our fossil fuel and energy industries. We're fed up with an open border. We're fed up with human trafficking. We're fed up with fentanyl flooding our country. And we're fed up with illegal immigration. We're fed up with critical race theory. We're fed up with boys competing in girls' sports. We're fed up with We're fed up with the liberal media, Twitter, Facebook, Google, and YouTube for blocking conservative speech. We're fed up with our government and universities censoring conservative thought, canceling debate, and rewriting history. We're fed up with the corruption in the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, the CIA, the NSA, and the poison court. We're fed up with mask mandates, vaccine mandates, the CDC, the NIH, the WHO, and the misinformation campaign surrounding COVID-19. And we're fed up with Anthony Fauci. We're fed up with the politicians and the elitists in D.C. who are getting rich while the middle class falls further behind every year. We're fed up with Joe Biden, with Nancy Pelosi. We're fed up with the January 6th Commission and those people who think that they can gaslight us. And we're fed up with Liz Cheney. Everyone on notice. As of November 8th, we're taking our country back.